this is to do with Argentina just hitting their first week without inflation in food prices in 30 years. Aussie's really hurting right now. We've got this graph right here of what I've never seen this before as well, and I've done a Bachelor of Property Economics, where we did macro and microeconomics. How is it that I've never seen this graph before? You've got a change in household net worth since the start of the presidency. So you've got the months there, 12 months, 24, 36, 48 months. Trump is the red line, Biden is the blue line. But if you look at the second graph, if you adjust it for inflation, it gives you a much more accurate analysis of your purchasing power and the value of your money. What's the go with this particular graph?
The interest, well, I mean, the answer for sort of Javier Milei, are we talking about here?
That's right.
Is that, one of the causes of the inflation that we've been experiencing is the interference of central banks in economies printing money during lockdown, which of course led to money being devalued, which is essentially what inflation is. Now, Javier Milei has basically stopped banks, sort of central bank from interfering in he's a libertarian, so he's stopped a lot of that. And what's happened, and I think this is probably exceeds even his expectations, is that the inflation has eased because the interference by the government and the state bank has stopped. Now, even Javier Milei was saying we're going to go through really bad times before we get to the good times. Look, I hope that this is a sign that what he's doing is really going to work, and it can be more of a model for other countries.
Craig, you shared this image on your Twitter. It was showing the contribution that housing and non-alcoholic. What's going on?
Well, that's the ABS released today, the monthly inflation data. Inflation is on the rise again. You can see it's 4.4% for the year to date. And the main factors that were pushing it up, I guess, of course, were housing. Housing costs, because you bring in more migrants into the country, then you have the capacity to build houses and infrastructure for. What will happen? Simply, supply in excess of, there's more demand in excess of supply, so up go prices. Now, this is actually these results today an absolute disaster for the country. I know we've seen many Australians are waiting and been praying that interest rates would come down, that the Reserve Bank would, the inflationary pressures would come off the economy, and that therefore would lead the Reserve Bank to lower interest rates, which would give everyone a little bit more breathing space. If you look at some of the other data, we are going backwards in real wages. Real wages in this country are declining because of inflation. We are going backwards. People are paying a greater percentage of that smaller real wage in tax, and they're seeing their livelihoods, and they're going deeper and deeper into debt. There was a great graph out the other day that showed that where one of the worst Australians are actually consuming more than they're actually earning. So they're going into debt, basically eating the paint off the walls of their homes. Right now, we would have hoped that inflation would have been under control, but the policies that Albanese's got just leads to more and more inflation.
It's ridiculous.
So it is an economic disaster for this nation. We've got terrible economic data coming up, and that's why I think the chances of an early election are shortening all the time. Because I think by the time we get to next year, the economy will be even much worse than it is. You've got Albanese having the sugar hit of the so-called tax. Every giving a little bit of their tax back that's been stolen by bracket creep.
Yeah, I've got that. I've actually got that graph up. You shared this as well. Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, that shows what's going to happen. Remember, as inflation goes up, people push for higher wages to get some type of compensation for inflation. So even if you're matching the inflation rate with the pay rise you get, that pay rise pushes you into a higher tax bracket. So as you earn more income, you pay a higher rate of tax, and therefore the actual number goes down. You can see there. So the estimates were that the average taxpayer will be $2,000 worse off by 27-28, which is not far away, right? No. Because the bracket creep is you'll be pushed up and you'll be paying more tax.
Shocking stuff.
It is really a
from the sublime to the ridiculous.
I know.
That's right.
I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I thought, what on earth is he about to put up?
Yeah. But also,
we are really have I think some dark economic times coming ahead. And that's why I think Albanese will want to lucky to put these so-called tax cuts through, do a bit of a cash splash, say how wonderful he is, and they're spending I think tens of millions of dollars promoting this. So it's taxpayers' money telling us how great Albanese is by giving us the tax back that a portion of the tax he's taken back for us. They can run to the election on the back of that. They think they'll lose a few seats. They can govern with the Teals going forward for another 3 years. I think that's a more likely. Those odds are shortening every single day.
Natalie?
I don't even know what to say. I mean, every time you go to the supermarket right now, the prices just go up and up and up. And it's okay for the Teal electorates, but it's not so okay in the western suburbs. And people are struggling.
Yeah.
I mean, people are struggling when the meat prices are astronomical, and yet they want to get rid of cows. I mean, what are people going to be eating? And I'm sorry, crickets are not an option, and neither are any other crustaceans.
Roasted soy or something.
Yeah, roasted
worms.
soy, worms. I mean,
bush tucker, isn't it?
Well, sure, it's bush tucker. I personally don't want any bush tucker. And apparently there is some sort of an element in this particular bush tucker that is very allergenic. Like you get allergies from it. So no thanks. Stick to the meat. Look at Jordan Peterson. He's got the carnivore diet, and his daughter's beaten arthritis through the carnivore diet. So let's just keep our milk and our meat.
If you can afford it.
If you can afford it, yes, and bring the prices down. But, you know, whoever wins the next election is going to have a massive hurdle to do something with this country. And if it's the Labor Party, God help us. And if it's the Liberal Party, also God help us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I probably had 2 times the stories in here. The guests were visibly watching me delete the stories before the show because there was just too much to cover on top of Assange. There's a lot going on around the world, which it's quite difficult to fit into this time. But I'm going to make these live streams a lot more regular in terms of once a week, but with regards to making them live streams so it's current for you guys so you can enjoy that kind of content. This Friday, we do have the debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That's at 11 a.m. Sydney time. No one I'm aware of in Australia is doing that as a live stream, so be sure to tune in for that. And the other aspect is I've also wanted to make sure we promoted that the Light Australia Edition 13 is also on offer as well. If you look on the website, the Light Australia newspaper.com, you can find the actual website there. We've actually got on this image right here, it's actually it's a lot cheaper than you'd think with regards to getting 2,000 prints, for example, $420. This is a natural evangelical tool. It's written by phenomenal authors. These people have been doing a phenomenal job bringing this paper together. It's there at your fingertips. Be sure to distribute it to your local community group and get it out there. You can even, if you just want 3 papers, no worries, just get it delivered to your house, $7, dirt cheap. But if you want to take it as an actual useful tool and get the word out there from a newspaper that is unapologetic with regards to its distribution, join the 200,000 every other edition we do, 200,000 prints that we do on this particular paper. Get it out there. Be sure to use it as an edition. We want to get it up to a million a month. We eventually want to get it to 1 million a week. This is what we're talking about here. If you want to take your country back, this is how we're doing it. Don't forget we're being censored as well. Don't forget we're being censored online. We've alluded to a potential fact check being written about the show. We'll keep you in the loop on that as that progresses. But please do follow Craig, Natalie, and Stephen Shavura on X, on Twitter. They're doing phenomenal content. Craig's is like a rolling commentary on all things climate. He really doesn't like Bowen. I would personally pay some good money to see you and Bowen sitting here in the chair. And Stephen Shavura does phenomenal commentary regularly on there. Natalie's more active on Instagram. Natalie Doomer, same spelling as you see there. But the full show here, guys, it is on YouTube, as you can see here. It'll also be on Rumble, X, and Telegram, especially when it's usually being censored. As I said, we've got probably 50% of the stories of what I was planning to do. There's a lot we could have talked about. But I want to say a big thank you to our panelists. And if you guys wanted to say anything else or plug anything else, please, now's your opportunity to.
Just thanks for watching. It's an honour debating and talking with you guys. I think you're all fantastic. Keep up the great work.
Pleasure. No, pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. And thank you, Joel, for having the ARC and for putting all the information out there, because it's greatly needed. We haven't got enough of media sources that are telling hard truths. Yeah. And it has been a pleasure with both of you, well, actually all 3 of you.
Joel, I think programs like this are very important.
Thank you.
We're in an information war for the survival of this country. Every policy you look at that is being foisted upon us, when you boil it down, is against the science, is against the economics, is against the environment, is against all the evidence. And we saw this, we talked about earlier during the Voice campaign. When you can sit down and when you can have these debates, there's enough Australians with enough sense that will wake up and vote against it. And that's what we need to do. We need to do more discussion. We've got things being censored on the ABC. We've got things being censored on the social media platforms, with maybe the exception of X, which gives us a fair run. So we've just got to have more and more discussion and more debate so we can have an educated electorate, so we can have informed voting and hopefully, avoid some of these disastrous policies that we're seeing being inflicted upon the country, causing so much harm at the moment.
Absolutely. And a pleasure to have you guys. And guys, if you're listening online, if you want to become a regular supporter, please either support the YouTube, either support PayPal, become a cup of coffee a month sort of person and donate $5. I'd written $6.50 now, I think, for a large.
Oh, it was $7 the other day.
$7? What are you getting? An almond chai latte or something?
It was an almond cappuccino.
Almond
really,
cappuccino. No judgment. I have one on a lazy day. Anyway, cup of coffee a month. You're welcome to support the show. This is your show. This is about your content. If you want to email me stories, especially about the rural stuff, I'm looking to cover more what's going on with the bees, what's going on with poultry, and a lot of the farms and how they're killing off these fire ants, but they're actually poisoning the water sources. Send me an email, joel@tpaust.com.au, joel@tpaust.com.au. I want to hear from you guys, and I want to see exactly how these people are hurting your community. I will cover pretty much anything. I just need there to be evidence to back it. Happy to chat to you guys. I will see you guys later. Thank you for the support. God bless you all. And we'll see you next week. I'll actually see them this Friday.
Very good.
Very good. Thanks.